Hi everyone, can you hear me? Hello, so you can type in the chat box. Tell me if you can hear. So can anyone just confirm if I am audible and my voice is my voice is clear and my video feed is also clear. Yeah, I can receive the confirmation. So it's already 6:02, so maybe we'll start in 2 more minutes so that everyone can join. So, and you guys, that this session will be recorded and you can visit this tutorial session after this meeting also. Hello. So I am audible, I guess. Hello. Yeah. So we'll start at 6:04. So yeah, we are starting the session. So hi everyone, welcome to the NPTEL tutorial session. So this session is in accordance with the course Introduction to Programming with C on NPTEL, and I hope you have seen the video lectures that were shared with you guys in uh, in this week for this week. So so I hope you guys can see my screen and my audio and video are visible to you all. If it's not, kindly type in the chat box so that I can confirm. So everyone just confirm that if you can see my screen. Anyone of you can just type in the chat box so that I can start. So am I not audible? Anyone? Great. So yeah, I hope my voice is clear and yeah. So let's start. So today is 16th February 2024, and I hope the text is visible. So we are starting a tutorial session on problem solving through programming in C. So this is the fourth session that we are holding. So we have already held 3 sessions before, and these are held 6 to 8 p.m. every Friday. So make sure you attend these sessions. I hope I will be helping you out guys to solve some problems on the topics that are taught during the lectures. So maybe we can start with the problems for today's session. So basically, this session will cover topics starting from the if-else statements, the conditionals in C, and then nested if-else statements, followed nested if-else statements, followed by nested if else system, and then the switch case statement that is provided by the C programming language. Then we'll be moving on to the repetitions, how to repeat some statements in the C programming language. So loops are available for doing repetitions in C, and we will see three different types of loops. So basically the while loop, do while loop, and the for loop. We will see a few problems using these loops, and we will see how problems can be solved. These are the broad topics that will be covered during this session. Apart from this, we will be also covering few smaller topics. Smaller topics. Uh, Basically, they will be the ternary operator and the prefix and postfix, incrementer and decrement operators that are provided by the C programming. So yeah, let's start. So the first problem, what is the purpose of the if-else statement in C? Let's go and see the options. The options say to execute a block of code repeatedly. So no, if-else statements are conditional. So they are not used for executing block of code repeatedly. To declare variables and constants. So no, we do not declare variables and constants using the if-else statement. Then to test a condition and execute different code based on the result. So yeah, this option is correct. So basically, we use the conditional if-else statement in C to test a condition and execute different codes, different segments of the code based on the result. So this option is correct. Option C, if-else statement C is used for testing a condition and execute different segments of the code based on the outcome of the condition. So yeah, this is the correct answer for this question. Go ahead and see the next question. What is the correct syntax for an if-else statement in C? So the options are if condition, then statement one followed by a terminator, then statement two, else statement three followed by a terminator. So let's say if it's correct. So no, it's not correct because we are not passing the conditions into the small braces. So this is incorrect. In the next option, again, it does not contains the condition in the small braces, so it's incorrect. The option C, it says if condition is within the small brackets, followed by statement one and then the else part. So yeah, option C is correct. So solution and C. If condition followed by statement. So this is how if else statement is written in C. Let's go ahead and see the next problem. Uh, which one of the following is true about nested if else statements? So let's see what are the options. They are not allowed in C, so it's false. So nested if else statements are allowed in C. The else part is mandatory for every if statement. It is also false because we can only have the if part itself. We can't have an else part without the if part. So yeah, if part is necessary to have an else part, but it's not necessary to have else part with every if statement. They allow you to test multiple conditions and execute different blocks of code based on the results. Yeah, that's true. Option C is correct. So basically, nested if else statements are contain if else statements within if else statements, so they can be used and they allow you to test multiple conditions and execute different blocks of code based on the result. So option C is correct. Solution. Option C. And the option D says nested if else statements are only allowed up to 2 level strips, so it's false. You can use many layers. So yeah, option C is correct. So let's see the problem 4. What happens if there is a no else part in an if else statement? So let's see what are the options. The program will not compile, the program will crash at runtime, So no, these are not true. Basically, the program will compile and program will not crash because else is not an important part that is required in the if statement. Then the third option says if the condition is true, nothing happens. If the condition is false, the program crashes. So no, it's also incorrect. If the condition is this option is incorrect, then the option D says if the correct condition is true, the program executes the code inside the if block. If the condition is false, nothing happens. So yeah, this is true. Option D. So yeah, we can have if statement in C problem in C without the else part, and if the condition is true, the segment of code that is within the scope of the if statement will be executed. So option D is correct. Okay. Let's go ahead. Question number 5. Which of the following operators can be used to combine multiple conditions in an if statement? So, so let's see what are the options here. And so this is logical and then logical or this is two bars, state bars, then the logical not. So we can see we can use all of these statements to combine multiple conditions in an if statement. So all of these options are correct. So solution to this problem is option D. All the options are correct. So let's go ahead and see the next problem. Compute the printed value of I of the C program given below. So by now, I hope every one of you is familiar with the C program and the main function, the basic necessities of every C program. It's basically the most important one is the main function. So every C program should have a main function that is basically served by the compiler and executed. You can see this is the hashtag include line that basically is it's a preprocessor directive that tells the compiler before compiling the program include the code segments that are provided in the library provided. So basically that's stdio.h. Then within the main function, the integer variable I has been declared with the initial value of 2. Then what we do, we say I equals to I plus plus. So let's parse this statement and we'll see what happens. Initially, what we are doing, we are assigning the value I, I equals to 2 equals to 2. And then what we are doing, we are using the postfix operator, that postfix incrementer for incrementing the value of I. So let's go ahead and write the value I equals to I plus plus. So what I plus plus does is basically increment, use the value in this expression and then increment. So now what happens? The value of I that is before that I contain before this line will be assigned to the variable I using the assignment operator here. So basically, now what happens? I will be assigned the value of 2. I so the variable I will be assigned the value 2, and after the state after the line ends, the postfix operator will be executed. So after this line, I contains the value 2 because the value has been changed. So basically, it will be 2. It will not be 3. So the correct answer is option A, that is 2. Option A. Fine. Someone is saying, can you discuss the assignment 4 question? So I don't know what are assignment 4. What is the assignment 4 given to you guys? And yeah, if those problems are for this week only, so I can't help you guys with that. If you want to ask few questions regarding to the problems that were shared to you guys by NPTEL team, for the previous weeks, I for whom the grades have been given, I mean the submissions for those problems, if they have been graded and you have been shared, a solution has been shared with you guys, then I can discuss those problems with you. But I can't discuss the problems that are shared with you guys for this week. Someone is saying, sir, can the answer will be three? So I suppose he's asking, Gaurav is asking for the this problem itself. So no, the problem answer will not be three because it's a postfix operation. So it basically uses the value in this expression and then the value of I is updated. Now what happens? The I has been assigned the value of 2 and then I plus plus happens. And since I's value has been changed, it does not make any, it does not affect the value of I after this statement. So yeah, the correct answer is option A, 2. So yeah, just a minute guys, I'm setting up the network. Let's see. So yeah, this is the answer for this problem. So let's go ahead and solve the next problem. If multiple conditions are used in a single if statement, then the testing of those conditions are done. So suppose if we have multiple conditions and we have used these operators, logical and logical operators for connecting those conditions, then the question says how those conditions are tested within the if statement. So the options are from right to left, so it's incorrect. Let's see the option B that says from left to right. So this is the correct behavior. So if you have multiple conditions in a single if statement, the conditions are evaluated from the left to right. So the condition that is present at the left hand side, the leftmost condition is evaluated first, and then the it goes to the right side. So, yeah, this is how if single if condition, multiple conditions are evaluated in a single if statement. So the correct answer is solution option B. So let me give you guys an example. So suppose we have a statement that says if say 2 equals to 2 and 1 equals to 3, then what happens? And then like suppose I'm doing printf uh, so let's say I am printing 1 is equal 2 is equal to 2 and 1 is equal to 3. Suppose I am doing this. This is some program, some section of the code that says if the condition is true, do something, and the condition is 2 equals to 3, 2 and 1 equals to 3. So you all know that 2 equals to 2 is true, whereas 1 is not equals to 3. So the second condition is false here. And since it is logical AND operation, the correct out it will say the condition is false. The entire the segment is false. So if statement will not be executed. So for this, what happens? The compiler first evaluates the first expression from the left, that is 2 equals to 3. Then only the second condition is evaluated. So an efficient implementation would look like this. So basically, what we would do would simply move the second condition on the left hand side. Now what happens? We are evaluating only one condition because as soon as the first condition 1 equals to 3 fails, it says it's false, and there is a logical AND operator. The if will then it will evaluate the second, that is 2 equals to 2, and it will say that yeah, it's false. So This is how it will be evaluating from left to the right. So that's why option B is correct. Let's go ahead and solve the next question. It says, what is the purpose of the given program where n is an input number given by the user? So we are given some program and we want to understand the logic behind why we are writing such program. So what's the logic behind this program? So let's go ahead and see. Yeah, let's see what the program says. So basically we are inside the main function and we are declaring a variable n in it, and then declaring variable x and initializing a value of 0 here. Then we are declaring another variable y. Now we are prompting the user to enter an integer, and we are using the scanf function to take in the input n. Take the input and store at the memory address pointed by the variable n. So basically what we are doing here, we are taking user input and storing the value in the variable n. The input is an integer. So now what we are doing, we are saying while n is not equals to 0. So while is a loop statement brought by the C programming language. Whenever you want to repeat some section of code multiple times, we use the while statement. So while is one of the loops, predefined loop statement brought by the C language. So what it is saying while n is not equals to 0. So here we can see we have logical not followed by logical not equals to operator. So what it does, it checks whether n is equals to 0 or not. The condition will be true if n is not equals to 0. So yeah, what we have to do, we have to repeat this lines of this piece of code until n is not equals to 0, and then we have to exit. So this is how this loop works. So basically, initially it checks. So initially, suppose user entered some random number, suppose 100. Let's say the user enters 1, 2, 3. Fine. So this means n equals to 1, 2, 3 and gets a value 1, 2, 3. Now is check if n equals to 123. If yes, if yes, if no, then execute the lines, the code segment. So yeah, then maybe I can write it, then enter. Then basically enter. So yeah, if n is if not equals to 1, 2, 3, then enter. So yeah, n equals to 0. Sorry. So let me correct this. Check if n is equals to 0. If it's not equals to 0, then enter the code segment and execute it. So basically 120 n is equals to 123. So yeah, it returns false. So n is not equals to 0. That it means it's true. The condition is true. So we will enter the body of the loop. So basically every statement that comes under the scope of the loop statement is referred to as the segment of the code that will be repeated, and it's also called the body of the loop. So basically, all the statements within the body of the loop are the statements that are within the scope of the loop. They have to be repeated until the loop condition is true. So let's see what we are doing here. So we are using the modulo operator. It's basically the arithmetic operator that returns the remainder of the division. So basically what we are doing, we are assigning the value y equals to n modulo 10. So what is n here? N is 123. So we are assigning the value 123 modulo 10. We all know that the remainder will be 3 in this case. So basically y gets the value of 3. So let me do one thing more. Maybe I can write the iteration number every time we are looping. So let's say iteration in iteration 1, what is happening? For the first time this loop is being executed, what is happening? Y is getting the value of 3. Then what is happening? X equals to x minus y. So basically x becomes x was initially 0. So you can see here x was initially 0. So x becomes 0 minus y, that is 0 minus 3, that is minus 3. So x becomes minus 3. Then what we are doing, we are using the arithmetic division operator. And let me tell you, recall this for you guys again. So arithmetic division uses, it depends upon the operands, on the data type of the operands. If that in either of the operands are floating values, then the division operator returns the floating values. So basically the decimal values. If it's not, if both the operands are integral values, then the integer output is returned. Basically, it returns the quotient of the division operator. So yeah, if the operands of a division operator are floating point, then we get the floating values. That is the decimal values, fractional part also. And if both of them are integers, then what happens? The result is the quotient of the division. So it will in this case, since we are both the variables, both the operands are integer, we get the quotient of this division. So n becomes n divided by 10, and so n equals to 123 divided by 10. That is 112. So basically, when you divide 123 by 10, and then you get the quotient 12. So this is the current value of n. So after each loop statement, what happens? It again goes back to the top of the loop here while, and again the condition is checked. So here we see we have reached the end of the loop the execution statement present inside the body of the loop. After this, the control goes back to the while condition, while where it checks the condition again. So now what is n? N is 12, so it's again not equals to 0. Then what happens? We enter iteration 2. Now, about iteration 2, and the value of n is 12. So now what we do, we use the value and repeat the code segment present inside the body of the loop. So what we are doing, y equals to n modulo 10. So basically y equals to 12 modulo 10. 12 modulo 10 is 2. So y gets the value of 2. Then what happens? X equals to x minus y. So x equals to x minus y. Initially, x was the value of x was minus 3, as we updated in the previous iteration. So minus 3 minus y would be minus 3 minus 2. That is minus 5. So again, now what we are doing, we are basically dividing the value of n by 10 and storing the quotient into the variable n. So when we divide n by 12, n equals to 12 by 10, so it returns 1. So the quotient of the division is 1, so n becomes 1. Then again, since we have reached the end of the loop, we again go back to the condition check at the top of the loop and check whether n is equals not equals to 0. So yeah, n is 1 and it's not equals to 0. So we enter iteration 3 and the value of n is 1. Now let's see what happens. We again execute this statements that are present inside the body of the loop. So basically y equals to n modulo 10. So n is basically 1. So 1 modulo 10 is 1. Then what happens? We assign the value of x. So what the value of x. So x was initially minus 5. So x equals to minus 5 minus 5. Y is 1. So minus 5 minus 1. That is minus 6. And what happens? We update the value of n equals to n divided by 10. That is 1 divided by 10. And we all know 1 divided by 10 has the remainder quotient 0. So n becomes 0 here. So again, we go back and check whether if n is not equals to 0. Here we can see n is equals to 0. So what we have to do, we have to not we can exit the loop and we don't need to execute the code segment present inside the body of the loop. So basically the control ends, and the next statement that occurs just after the body of the loop is getting executed after this. So basically now after iteration 3, the value of n is 0. After 3 iterations, the value of n is 0. And then what we are going to do, we are going to execute the next statement that comes after the body of the loop. So it's basically a printf statement that prints the value onto the standard output device. And by default, in the stdio library, it is the display monitor. So basically, we print up the value. Output is we use the format specifier percentage %d for the integer values, and we print the value of x. So here we can see after 3 iterations, the value of x was 6. So it will basically print minus 6 onto the display. So this will be the value that the user will be seeing, and then the program will execute return 0 and the program will end. So suppose the user input was 1, 2, 3 and the output is minus 6. So can you guys tell me like what this program was trying to do? Can you tell me the logic behind this program? So I hope you guys are able to understand what it was saying. So basically, the user enters 123 and the output is -6. So can someone answer on in the chat box so what it is actually doing? So I do not see any responses. Maybe I can give you guys 2 minutes. So anyone, do you guys need some hint? Maybe I can give you some hint. So additive inverse of the sum of the digits. So someone is saying it's additive inverse of the sum of the digits. So can you just elaborate what you are saying here? So I don't actually. Just want to get. I just want to clarify what you are saying here. So Shreya, can you type in the explanation what you are saying? Additive inverse. What do you mean by additive inverse? Someone is also saying the correct answer is option B. So the negative sum of the digits of the number. So Shreya, I guess your answer is correct. So you are saying basically the negation of the sum of the digits of the input. So yeah, so input was 1, 2, 3. When you add these digits, what happens? 3 plus 2, 5 plus 1, it's 6, and the answer is -6. So yeah, it's what it is doing. It is basically extracting each of the digits from the number. So it's extracting the digits one by one, multiplying them by -1, or basically taking the negative of that digit and then adding them all. So it's basically this program also helps you guys to understand the basics of number programming with numbers in C. So basically, when number manipulation, whenever you are doing problems where you have to manipulate numbers based on the digits of the number, you can use this pattern. So basically, you can use the modulo 10 operator to extract the last digit. So basically, digit from the right hand side. So you can say it most least significant digit, and then the modulo will give you that modulo 10. Then you can use the integer division operator to get the quotient when divided by 10. So it basically removes the least significant digit, so you are left with the remaining part of the number. So this is how this logic works. So yeah, the correct answer is the negative sum of the digits of a number. So this was an example that help you guys to understand how to manipulate numbers using programming. Option B. So let's go ahead and solve the next problem. So we'll be looking at, yeah. So, so let's go ahead and see what the next problem says. Ah, so what will be the output of A, B, C after the execution of following statement? So so we have three variables, and they are declared to the data type integer. So first we are declaring the variable in A that belongs to the data type integer, and we are initializing value of 5 to it. Then we are declaring the variable B with an initializing value 7, and the variable C and initializing the value of 111 to the variable C, 111. So the problem we have to execute. We are not given an entire code section here, so we can see there are no include statements and uh, no include statement, and there is no main function. So basically here what we are given is a segment of the code. Suppose we take this segment of the code and put it inside a formal C main function, then what happens? So assume it like this, and let's go and try run what is following code segment, I would say. So let's go ahead and see what it does. So what we are doing, we are using the shorthand operator divide equals to. So let me give you guys an intuition of the shorthand operator. So shorthand operators in C. So they are usually they are written as A. So suppose you want to write A equals to A plus 1. Then the shorthand for this would be shorthand for this expression would be A equals to A. So basically A plus equals to 1. So basically, these are the shorthand operators in C. They are used whenever we want to get some So quickly do some increment or decrement operators, or even divide or multiply. So basically, a equals, so a divide equals to 10 means a equals to a divided by 10. So divided by 10. So these are how shorthand operators are defined in C. So we can use them to our requirement. So initially, I would not recommend you guys to use this, but you can use this when you are getting familiar with the language. These might result in some logical errors. Sometimes you might miss them. So yeah, these are the shorthand operators that you can use for all of the arithmetic operators. So plus, multiplication, division, addition, and modulo, and also subtraction. So they would look like this: a minus equals to 10. Then you can say a multiply equals to 10. So this is how you can use shorthand operators in C. So A divide C divide equals to basically means C. So C divide equals to plus A multiplied by B minus minus. So this statement can be written as C equals to C divided by then the usual statements on the right hand side. So can you guys like infer what will be the output for this? So let's see what the statement says. So plus A is the prefix operator, and then there is a arithmetic multiplication, and B minus minus is the postfix in decrement operation. So let's go ahead and see the precedent table to verify how to proceed with this problem. So there is a nice website that provides the precedence of the C operators. So let's go ahead and open it. So yeah, this is a website that gives you the precedence of the operator. So here you can see the postfix of increment and decrement operators have the maximum highest precedence. So postfix is basically a plus plus b minus minus. So what and the associativity is left to right. So basically, what we have to do, we have to use the value and then update the value. So that will be done first. Then prefix increment and decrement will be done. After that, you can do multiplication, division, and the modulo operation. And lastly, we do the addition and subtraction. And the last part, that is the shorthand operator that we are using. That is divide equals to. They have the least precedence in our given problem in the given segment. So basically, the shorthand will be executed at the last. So maybe we can write it like this. So we can the problem will execute it like this. So C divide equals to plus A multiplied by B minus minus. And the B minus minus will be executed first, but the value will be updated after this statement. After this semicolon, this terminated has ended. So the value of B will not be updated in this state while evaluating this expression. So it will be plus A multiplied by B minus minus. So B was initially 7, so B will be 7 here only. It will become a 6 after this line. So B equals to 6 after this line. Fine. So now let's go ahead and see what we have here. So we have plus A multiplied by 7. So we saw that the unary the increment prefix has more higher precedence over the multiplication arithmetic operator. So plus A will be executed first. So A becomes A plus 1, and that is 6. A will become 6 here. Then what we do, we again go ahead and update the value. So A becomes 6 multiplied by 7. So this is how this statement will be executed. Since shorthand has the least precedence, so this will be executed first. So the statement becomes C equals to C divided by 642. So yeah, this is how it will go. we had initialized C with the value 111. So what it will do is C equals to 111 divided by 42. So let me remind you guys here, all the three variables are of data type integer. So the division will return the quotient of this division. So basically the quotient would be 2 here. So C becomes 2. So at last what happens after this line of code is being executed, the variable A contains the value of 6. The variable B contains the value of 6, value of C, and the variable C contains the value 2. So the correct answer is option C. A contains the value 6, B contains the value 6, and C contains the value. So yeah, Satyan was correct. So I guess two students answered, Ritvik and Satyan. So you are correct. Option C is correct for this. So let's go ahead and solve the next question. This is the last problem that I have that we have here for this session that asks you guys for the output for a given program. After this, we will consider some problems in which we will be writing the logic for by ourselves, and we will be checking what would be the output for those programs. So, yeah. So this is a program that uses the switch statement in C. So again, you can see the proper defined C program. We are including the standard IO library, and then we are defining the main function. Within the main function, we are declaring variable x and initializing the value of 1 to it. Then what we are doing, we are using the switch statement here. So switch statements are an alternative to if-else statements. So what it does is the syntax goes like this: switch followed by some expression. So that is switch and then some expression. So the expression is evaluated first, and then whatever is the outcome of this expression, that case is selected. So what is the expression here? Expression is simply the variable x. The value of the variable x is 1. So the everything that is inside the case 1 will be executed. So here we have defined case 1, and under the case 1 statement, we are printing the value choice is n followed by a line change operator. So basically, we will the program will print case 1. It will print choice is 1. Now there is no break statement here. So the program will go on execute every statement that is below this line. So it will also go to the default case and execute the state expression there. So it will basically print choice other than 1 also. So the correct answer is option C, both A and B. So the output will be, maybe the output would look like this. Choice is 1, then a line change, and then choice other than 1. So the correct answer is option C, both A and B. So this will be the output for this problem. So I hope you guys are now familiar with this switch case statement. So basically, switch takes in an expression. It takes the value of the outcome of the expression, and then switch to the one of the cases that has been defined. So it takes if the case has been defined, it goes to that case and execute the statement within that. If the case has not been defined, the default case is executed. So, yeah, and within every case, you have to use the break statement to exit out of the scope of the state case switch case statement. Otherwise, it will go ahead and execute all the cases present below that case. So yeah, the correct answer is option C. So maybe I can provide the link in the problem that required the receipt. So this is the operator wisdoms. So these were the problems that required you guys to see the problem and solve the and check the outputs. So from now onwards, we'll be writing some code, we'll be writing some logic for the programs, and then we will run and write the code and compile it and see the outputs. So by now, I hope every one of you is able to write C programs on their systems, and you are able to compile them using the GCC or MinJitW compilers and then run the executables. So do you guys have any doubts till now? After this, we'll be starting a programming session where we'll be writing the code. So you guys can type in the chat box if you have any queries. see if you have any. So I guess there is no queries from you guys. So yeah. So before starting the next session, maybe we can take a break for 5 minutes. So it's 6:46. So we will restart at 6:56. So let's take a break for maybe 10 minutes. So 6:56. No, just for 5 minutes. So it will. It's already 6:57. So maybe we can start at 6:53, 6:52. So yeah. Hello. So, hi everyone. Can anyone confirm if I am audible? Hello. Am I audible? So, can anyone confirm? Fine. So, I hope my voice is clear. And so, yeah. So let's resume our session. So, where were we? So, I hope you guys have no questions from the previous like 45 minutes in the first half of the session. So, we will discuss some of the problems based on the topics that were covered in the class. Few the code program code was given, and you all have had to answer like what would be the output for those programs. From now, this is the second half, the start of the second half of the session. In this session, we will look at some of the problems in which we have to solve the problem logically, and then we have to write a C program for this and see if it's working or not. So let's go ahead and start with the first problem. So determine the grade of a student based on their score. So this is the first problem. So we are given the grade of a student. We have to given the score of a student and we have to define their grade. If the score is above 90, then it's an A. So let's write in a mapping table. So it's really good to create tables in cases like this. So let's say there is a score and then score and then grade. So if the score is greater than 90, so if the score is greater than 90, then grade is A. The score is between 80 and 90. So if 80 and 90, then check if it's above 85, then A minus or else B plus. So if it greater than 80, if let's say score is less than 90, and greater than 80, then check, check. So let me write this. If score is greater than A, then grade would be greater than 90, then grade is basically A. If the score is greater than 90, less than 90 and greater than 80, then check if score is above 85. So let's say score greater than 85, then grade is A minus, else grade is B plus. So now if it is between below 80, so um, above 90 means strictly greater than 90. But if the score is between 80 and 90, then it means it's less than equals to 90 or greater than equals to 80. And then if it's greater than 85, then it is A minus, else it is the grade is B plus. Now, if score is less than 80, so let me write it like this, 80 and greater than equals to 70, then it's C. If the score is less than 70, then grade D. So this is the logic that we'll be writing in our code. So this is that mapping. If score is greater than 90, then grade. if the score is between 80 and 90, check if it's greater than 85. If it's greater than 85, then grade is A minus, else the grade will be B plus. And if grade score is greater than and equal to 70 and it's less than 80, then it's a C. Otherwise, it's a D. So let's go ahead and write a program for this. So let me open the ID in which we'll be writing code and executing it. So yeah, let's go ahead and create a file for the problem 11 and use this logic to write a program. So this is the logic that we'll be using. So let me zoom in a bit. Is the text visible to you guys? So just confirm. So till then I can include the standard library. So can anyone confirm if the text size, font size is fine? So let's use a variable score. So no one is responding. Is the screen visible? Fine. So is the font size fine for you guys? Yeah, great. So let's go ahead and create a variable and declare keep it of a data type integer and just take in the value from the user. So we are giving a prompt to the user, kindly use enter your score. Then we will be using the scanf statement. We use the preprocessor, we format specify percentage d, telling the scanf, telling the function that we are going to take integer and as an input. Let's point it to the address of the variable score. Then the variable score will get the value. Not now what the logic that we decided was if the score is greater than 90, so strictly greater than 90, that is 91 to 100. So then it's the grade is A. So let's go ahead and do this. So if score greater than 90, then what we have to do? We have to simply print grade A. Now else if so here we what we could have. So someone is saying, yeah, there are some doubts that I will clarify after I have written the code for this problem. So yeah, we can have we could have used multiple if statements also. And since we are having multiple conditions, so we can also use else if statement here. So now what we have to check if state 9 is score is greater than 90. So if a score is greater than equals to 9, less than equals to 90. So here we are having two conditions. So we'll be using logical and to combine those conditions. And then we check score is less than equals to 90 and score is greater than equals to 80. So now what we have to do, we have to do, we have to check again if score is greater than 85. If it is, then what we have to do, we have to simply printf grade A minus. So let me use the line change operator here. So if the score is greater than 85, print A minus. Else what we have to print? We have to print grade B plus. Now we have considered the condition in which the grade score was between 80 and 90. Now if its score is between 70 and 80, so let's go ahead and again use the if else ladder here. Else if the score is greater than equals to 70 and then score is less than 80, less than, yeah, less than 80, then what we have to do? We have to print the grade C. Otherwise, what we have to do? We have to simply print the grade D. So this is how the logic looks like. And let's go and see if our program is correct. So here I am using the GCC compiler here. So GCC 11.c. Let's go ahead and execute the executable. Let's say my score is 95, 95 for this course. Then you can see it shows the grade A. What happens if it's 86? So let's go ahead and enter 86. Then grade is A minus. For 81, it's B plus. Similarly, for 79, you can see grade C. And for 69, the grade is D. So even if I enter 0, it prints grade D. And since we can also use some sanity checks here also. So we know that score cannot be negative unless there is some minus marking in the examination. So let's suppose if the program there is no minus marking. In that case, we can also provide a case if the grade score is less than 0. If the score is less than 0, we can give a warning maybe. So let's go ahead and check. Let's if score is greater than equals to 0, then print grade D. Otherwise, what happens? It means that the uh, else if score is less than 0, then this means uh, grade is D. There we can tell the user that there was a minus marking in the question paper. So yeah, so we can also tell the user that if you are getting a grade D, then there was a minus marking. So let's see what happens now. Suppose my score is minus 5, then it says, yeah, there was some minus marking in the question paper. That's why you're getting a negative grade. Fine. So this is the problem solution for this problem. So let's go ahead and copy the code. So let me do this here. Logic is like this, then the solution looks like this. So let me correct the formatting a bit and then it will be good. So yeah, this is the solution for this problem. So so I can see some of the doubts from you guys. So sir, why are you using void main? So we can use void main or anti main. It depends upon the compiler. So I am using void main. That's why I'm not returning any value here. So it's basically there is a null return type for this main function. So that's why I'm using void function. If I would have used an integer return type, then I would have to return some value, and usually we return 0. Fine. So anyone else? Any doubts with this problem? So I do not see any questions from you guys. So are you able to understand this problem? So I hope, yeah, I have cleared your doubts. You guys are able to solve this problem. Um, so let's go ahead and solve some problems on switch cases. So we did not looked into any switch case problems right till now. So let's go ahead and write some problems based on switch case statement. So I guess there is another question, sir. Why are you using void main? So it's up to you. You can use, we could have used int main here also. So I was just trying to explain, give you an example that you can use both of the methods. So you can use void main or int main here. If it's the return type is integer, then you have to return something that is integer from this function. If you are using a void function, void return type, then that means you don't need to return anything from this function. Fine. So we could have used int also. So am I clear? So can you confirm so that we can proceed? Yeah, fine. So let's go ahead and write a C program using switch state case. So we are given a problem where we have to write a C program to print the day of a week name using switch case. So the input would be day of the week. So let's say we have a mapping like this. The first day is Monday. So let's say first day is Monday. The second day is Tuesday. The third day is Wednesday. Fourth day is Thursday. Fifth day is Friday. Sixth day is Saturday. And seventh day is Sunday. So this is the mapping that we are using. So we will ask the user, uh, ask the user to and enter the day of the week, and then print the name of that day of the week. So if it's one, then it means first day of the week, that is Monday. For two, it's the second, that is Tuesday, and so on. So let's go ahead and write this problem, solve this problem using switch case. So this will be problem 12.c. So yeah, let me include the standard IO library here, and then we'll be using void defining the main function. It has no return type, so we don't need to return anything. So yeah, let's declare an integer value day of the week, and we can take ask from the user to give in some input. Kindly enter the day of the week. Then we can use the scanf statement here to take in the input. Fine. Now we have asked the user to give in the input. The user has entered the particular day. He or she wants to know which weekday it belongs to. So let's use the switch statement here. So we all know switch takes an expression to be evaluated here. For our case, we can use the variable day of the week here itself, and then we can switch to the statement and switch, and then within the switch body we can define various cases. So suppose for case one, what should be the output? Case one should do something like this. It should print up. It is Monday. Let's say we are printing something like this. And then we should make sure that we are using a break statement. Otherwise, all other cases will also be executed. So if the case, it is case two, then what we can say here, we can simply print it is Tuesday. And then we break out from the
case. Then it is case 3. In case 3, we print that it is Wednesday. Yes, fine. And then we again break out of this. If it's case 4, then it is Thursday. So even I could have optimized this printing statement also. So what we can do, we can simply print here itself. It is, and then we do not change the line and simply say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So you guys saw what I did here. Yeah, it's basically we were seeing that we are printing it is again for every case. So what I did, I simply printed it just before the switch case statement. So it will be printed by default, and then the particular day will be printed. So it will serve the same purpose. So let's go ahead and write the case 5. Print Friday. Then in case 6, it is Saturday. And then for case 7, we can print a Sunday. And suppose if someone enters something else apart from this default, so we can simply print. We can tell the user uh, incorrect option, some sort of this. So we can give the message incorrect option. So the syntax is so I think it should be correct. Huh. So now we have defined all the cases and let's see what the program does here. So we'll go ahead and compile our code. So here it is and then GCC 12.c. So am I doing something? Oh yeah. So, so let me see if I am doing something incorrect here. Yeah, let me check. Of course. Oh, sorry. So default is by default um, keyword. We don't need to define another case. So, so I hope you guys understood what was the issue here. So let's go ahead and compile our program and then run the program. So it's asking us to kindly enter the day of the week. Let's say I say day 1, so it is Monday. Day 4, it is Thursday. But okay, there is an error. So you guys can see it is printing. It is Thursday, and then Friday is also being printed. So can anyone tell me why it is happening here? So suppose if I enter, kindly enter the day of the week, and if I enter 4, it should be printing. It is Thursday. That's it. But it's also printing Friday also in the next line. So can anyone tell me by looking at this code? So yeah, Gaurav is saying break is missing. So yeah. There is a bug in this code. I have not provided the break statement in case 4. That's why it was happening. So someone is saying, sir, can you maximize the output? Let me see if I can do that. So yeah, I can do that. So yeah, now it's clear. So when I entered 4, then it says it is Thursday, all then followed by Friday. So what was happening actually? There was no break statement here. So the statement within the case 4 was executing, and then case 5 was also executed. That was printing Friday, and then a break was found here. So nothing after this was executed. So that was happening. Let's go ahead and correct the error and then rerun our code. So let's say if I enter row, so it's Thursday. Now suppose if I am entering some another number such as 0, then it goes to the default case and it says it is an incorrect option. And suppose if I enter 100, what is the 100th? So it is also an incorrect option. So yeah, this is how the switch case works in C. So you guys have any doubts? So let me write the solution here. So do you guys have any doubt? I hope it clears your all of your doubts regarding the switch case statements in C. Still, if you have any doubts, you can ask. So I'm seeing that none of you are responding. So I guess there are no doubts, or I'm not audible, or so yeah. So this was a problem. So where we use switch case to print the day of the week. Fine. So let's go ahead and solve the next problem. It also requires you to write the solution using a switch case statement. So write a C program that prints the total number of days in a month using switch case. Hmm. So let's go ahead and solve this problem. So we all know that there are 12 months and each month have different number of days. So let me type in the logic here. For January, there are 31 days. Then February. So let's say days in a month for the year 2024. So it's a leap year. So February. February has 29 days for this year. And then March has again 31 days. April has 30 days. Mm, May has um, 31 days. June has again 30 days. July July has 31 days and August has also 31 days. Someone is saying is the same as the previous problem. So yeah, so maybe you guys, if you want, I can give this problem as a maybe practice for you guys. So yeah, let me skip this problem. So you can use this as a practice. So this will be at the below of. So let me use another problem. So let's solve another problem that requires some logical operations also. So write a C program to find maximum between two numbers using switch case statements. So we skipped the previous problem because it was similar to the problem that we saw earlier also. So let's go ahead and solve this problem. Write a C program to find maximum between two numbers using. So user will be inputting two numbers, basically two numbers. Output should be the value of the maximum number. Okay. So this is the problem that we are going to solve. Let's go ahead and solve this using switch case statement. So we could have written something sort of this like if number one is greater than number two, print printf num1, some sort of this, else printf num2. Now suppose you are not allowed to use the if else statement, then what would you do? So in that case, we can use the switch case also. So let's go ahead and see how it looks like. So let's create a new file name 13.c. Let me include the necessary libraries and then void main. Okay. So now let's define two variables, num1, num2. We do not give any value to this and ask the users to enter the values. So kindly enter the values separated by a space. So let's tell the user to give in two numbers separated by a space. And then what we do, we use the scanf statement, tell it that we are taking two integral values pointing out to their addresses. And yeah, after this, we'll get the two numbers. So now we want to write the switch case logic using switch case statement to print the maximum number, the value of the number that is having the maximum value. So let's go ahead and define the switch statement. We know that we need to write expression here. So what an expression could be? It could be anything in C that has some value. So it could be some operation also. So if we use some logical operation here, then there could be two outputs, 0 or 1. So for 0, this means false, and then 1, it means uh, true. So what we want, if num1 is greater than num2, what it will return? It will return true. So what it will say? Basically 1 if num1 is greater than 2, else 2, and else 0. So there are two cases here. So case 1, what we can say? We can simply print the value, printf the first number has the maximum value of. So let's say we can print the value also, num1, and then break. And in case 2, in case 0, so basically if the expression returns 0, then we know that num2 has the maximum value, the second number has the maximum value of. So let's print the value also, and then num2. And then since there are no statements of the case, second case, we don't need to write a back statement here also. And we also know that there can be only two outcomes here, so we don't need the default case also. So let's go ahead and execute this problem. Yeah, so it's problem 13. Then so kindly enter the values separated by space. So let's say I give in the numbers 1 and 2, then it says that the second number has the maximum value of 2. So let's see if I put in something like a 10 and 100, 1000 and 100, then what it says, the first number has the maximum value. Let's see what happens if both the values are same. Then it's also saying that the second number has the maximum value. So there is some logical error in the program. The values are equal, but we are saying that the second number has the maximum value. So we can also provide uh, another case here. So can you guys tell me how we can do that? Like, how we can check if the numbers are equal? So you guys have also been taught about the ternary operator in C. So do you know what is ternary operator? So if you because the ternary operator was taught in the class, so I will be using that operator here to solve this problem where we want to say we want to check if the value both the values are equal. We want to tell the user that none of them have the highest value, both of them have the same value. So for that, I will be using a ternary operator here. So its syntax is like this: some variable equals to some expression if it's true, value if true, followed by value if false. This is how ternary operator works. So it takes it basically takes an expression and then assigns the value to the variable if value is true. If the value is false, then it assigns some other value. So let's see how we can solve the problem where we wanted to check if the values are equal or equal also. So what we can say that if num1 is greater, if num1 is equals to num2, then what we can do, we can simply return say -1. We can write another case 2. Let's say case 2. Then the value is 2. Else, what we can do, we can simply return the value num the of the comparison num2. So, and we also need to type in the case 2 here also. So now we have more statements here. So we are using the break statement here. And again, we are printing the value. Both the numbers have values equal to, and let's say we print the value also, num1, because both of them have the same value. So let's see what happens here. Let's say it's 1, 1, and 11 and 10. Then it says first number has the maximum value, and then 1, 1, 1, and 1, 1, 1, 1. And let's say the second number has the maximum value. It's correct. What happens if we put in the same value for both the variables? Then we can see our program is able to tell that both the numbers have values equal to 1, or maybe any value you can put in here. So are you guys clear? How did we write this code? How did we resolve the case where we wanted to check if the values are equal or also equal or not? So can anyone just confirm if you guys are able to understand this? Otherwise, I can explain again. So basically here what I'm doing, we need and some expression that tells the switch statement to jump to a particular case. Initially, what we had only two cases, 0 and 1. That was the output of this comparison. Basically, if num1 is greater than 2, if num1 is greater than 2, it returns 1. That means num1 is maximum value, the first number. Else it returns 0, the condition is false, and then it prints the value of second number that it has the highest value. Now what we modified is basically we used a ternary operator. So what we did, we first checked if both the numbers have the equal value. If they have the equal value, then the operator will return this value, that is 2, and we created another case 2 that says both the number have equal values. If they don't have if they are not equal, then we have to go ahead and evaluate the second expression, that is num1 is greater than 2, and it's working the similar fashion that we wrote in the fashion in which we wrote the first program. So it will basically return the value of the comparison num1 greater than num2, and either of these two cases will be executed. So is this program clear to you guys? So I have covered basically two concepts in this program, writing using expressions in switch statements, and then also using the ternary operator here. So do you guys have any doubt? Please kindly type in the chat box. Am I audible? Is my screen visible? Can you see my face? Anything? Anyone just confirm so that we can proceed, so that we can be on the same page. Fine. So Sahil, can you tell me, like, anyone kindly type in the chat box if you are unable to understand this program. So it's very crucial for you guys to understand the ternary operator at this stage, so that you can write complex logic like this. So maybe you guys can take a few minutes to understand this program again, and then you guys can tell me if you have any doubts. So let me segregate it a bit, and then. So, someone has a doubt about K0. So yeah, Nitish, can you tell me what is the doubt? So what's the doubt that you have about case 0? Nitish, can you tell me? So yeah, so you're saying you have not understood that step. So let me again help you guys with the ternary operator, what it does, what it means actually. ternary operator. Let me use some multi-line comments. So its syntax goes like this. So let's say some variable, we are assigning a value to some variable, then there is some expression. If the outcome is true, so it basically the expression should return either true or false. Then if it's true, then value if true, else value if false. Fine. So this is how ternary operation works. So suppose we say x equals to 1 equals to 1. If it's true, then x is 1. If it's false, then x is 2. So the output in this case would be if 1 equals to 1 returns true, so it's true, then the x have the value 1. So here x equals to 1. So now if I say some statement like this, x equals to 2 equals to 1, in this case, the value of x becomes 2 because this condition is false. So this value is assigned to the variable x. So this is how the ternary operator works. In our program, we were facing an issue in which we wanted to check. We want basically we wanted to check if the values stored in the variables num1 and num2 have the maximum value. So there was a case in which in so there are three cases basically. Three cases in this problem. Number one, num1 equals to num1. So num1 is equal to num2. The second case says num1 is greater than num2. And the third case says num1 is smaller than num2. So these are the three cases that we need to cover in this problem. So we were not allowed to use if-else statement. So if we were allowed to use if and still, we could have used three ifs: if num1 equals to and num2, else if num1 is greater than num2, or else if num1 is less than n2, and then we could have printed the variable values. But in this case, what we had to do, we had to use a switch statement. So in the switch statement, so basically the switch statement takes uh, takes in an expression as input, evaluates it, and then transfers transfers the control to the transfers the control to the case defined for a particular value. Let me value of the expression. So first the expression is evaluated, and then the value is then that value is used to transfer to the particular cases that have been defined. So you can see what I wrote here is switch if num1 is equal to num2. If it is true, then the value will of this expression will be 2. Otherwise, the value of this expression will be the outcome of this comparison. If num1 is greater than 2, then case 1 will be true. That is, if the first number is true, then go to the case 1. That simply prints that first number has the maximum value. If suppose if num1 is not equal to num2, in that case this happens. Again, if num1 is less than num2, then this expression returns 0. That is the case 0 that we are referring to here, and we are simply saying that second number has the maximum value. And suppose if num1 was equals to number 2, in that case this value would have been assigned to this switch statement, and it would have been jumped to case 2. And in case 2, what we are saying, both the numbers have the equal value. So this is how this switch case statement is working here. So Nitish, did I answer your query? Are we clear with this? How this statement is working? How this code is working? Anyone? Do you have any doubts regarding this? Fine. So yeah, I can. So now we can. It's safe to proceed from here. So I hope from now onwards you will be able to write code using ternary operators and switch case statements. So let me write the solution. So yeah, this was the solution for this problem. So now about 20 minutes are remaining. So we are already past the 1 hour 30 minutes mark. So now I would like to take some questions from you guys. If you have any questions, just type in the chat box. Apart from otherwise, you can just proceed with few more examples. So I wasn't able to cover the problems that required you to write use loops. So maybe we can cover those problems in the next session. So for this session, maybe I can reiterate what we discussed. So in this session, what we covered was nested if else statements, and then we understood the increment and decrement operations, then the ternary operator and the switch statement. So we wrote problems related to these topics. There are other things that I wanted to cover was library functions such as get char, put char, and two upper, two lower. Then we also saw the break statement, so it's also done. Then I wanted to cover the loops, and we weren't. We I don't think so I so we were not able to solve any problems related to these topics, but yeah, I will be covering these topics in the next session. So don't worry about this. So maybe in the next session, what I will do, I will start with this topic. So I will start with some basics character libraries used for string manipulations. Then we will start with the problems on loops, and we will see how these loops are defined. So while statement, do while, and for statements. So, do you guys have any doubts related to these topics like nested if else and then increment decrement operators and then the ternary operators and the switch statement? So, do you guys have any doubts? So, yeah, someone is saying like the session is really nice. So, thank you for that. So, yeah, do you have any doubts regarding this session regarding these topics? Otherwise, I can start with a basic example on loops, simple problem using loops. So I can start this. If you have any doubt, just let me help. So yeah, someone is saying what is the difference between plus I and I plus plus? So let's see what it does. So, hmm, so maybe I can student doubts. So difference between prefix and postfix increment decrement operators. So these are the arithmetic operators, and they are doing basically one thing, incrementing or decrementing the value of the variable by one. So let's say if I write there is a variable integer a equals to 0, and if I say a plus plus, then it means that now increment the value of the variable a by 1. But and again, it says this statement, and let me do this again also. I will clarify the difference after by one. So both these statements are saying the same thing, that is a equals to a plus 1. So basically, this is what it's saying. But there is a difference between this. So the this statement is called postfix, and it has the first precedence, highermost precedence that as we saw in the table also. And this is the prefix statement, prefix operator. So What postfix means is use the value of the variable for the line being evaluated, and then change the value from the next line. So this is what the postfix means, and the prefix statement means use the increment. I can say update the value stored in the variable and then use it. So this is the difference between these two operators, plus plus a plus plus and plus plus a. So for postfix, it means just to use the value that was assigned to the variable a before before this line, and just use that value until a line terminator is found. So terminator is basically the line end of line symbol. It's a semicolon. So basically use that only value. Do not update the value. Just use it until the terminator is found. If there is a prefix operation that says plus plus followed by the variable name, that means just update the value. After that, use that value in that statement. And it has the highest precedence among other arithmetic operators, as we saw. That's why these will be executed first. So, also a plus plus also there is a minus minus. So just for decrement, a plus plus is for increment and a minus minus is for decrement. Similarly, plus plus a is for increment and minus minus a is for decrement. So, Sahil, did I answer your question? Now will you be able to solve problems on this? Fine. So, anyone else? Any doubts regarding these topics? So yeah, someone is saying what is the difference between while loop and do while loop? So yeah, we wanted to cover this a problem on this topic itself, but there is no much time. So maybe since there are no other questions from the students, I can simply use a problems. I can use a problem to explain this. So someone is saying, what is switch statement? So let me clarify the topic on which I have given some examples today. So that will be easier for you guys. So I will explain the difference between while and do while loop with an example, maybe towards the end of this session, if we have any time left. Someone is saying switch statement. So someone wants to understand what is the switch statement. So basically, switch statement is so let me do. So this was one of the doubts. And then let's take in the next question. So it says switch statement. So yeah, switch statement is a predefined function that is provided by the C language itself. The syntax goes like this. The syntax is, so basically it starts with the statement switch, then followed by some expression within the brackets. So there is some expression. Then what you have to do, you have to go to the body of the switch statement, and then the whatever is the value of the, so basically what you are saying, evaluate the value of the expression and jump to the case defined for that par- particular value. So this is what switch statement basically means. So first evaluate the expression, the value of the expression, and then define some cases. So let's say case one. So suppose for if the case, maybe I can say it case value one. Suppose for value one, do something. So maybe do something here. And don't forget to use the break statement. So yeah, if there is some case one, if the value is one, so now go if the value is some other value, so let's say value two, then again do something else. So maybe do something else and then break. And now suppose you were not able to find a case value for which the value that expression can have. So what you can use there, you can simply use the default case. So if none of the cases match the value evaluated by the expression, just do whatever the default condition. So maybe default, maybe default function. So you be default default operation you have defined, it will do this. So this is how the switch statement works. It basically takes an expression, evaluates it. Whatever is the output of the expression, um, the control is jump to that to the case that relates to that output, and then anything inside that is being executed. If you don't use the break statement, everything below that case will be executed. If you have not defined any case for a particular value, then the default case is executed. Kindly note that default is not required, so you can ignore default also. So, but it's probably better to use default case in case to avoid any uh, ambiguity in the code. So yeah, so you are saying, sir, please scroll previous pages. So yeah, so you have any doubt in the previous page also? So maybe I can go through all the problems one by one, and just you can say which in which problem you have any doubt. So this was problem one. So you can tell me if it was. Just tell me for the whenever I reach the particular problem. So for problem two, so I, then this is problem three. Then this is problem four. Then this is problem five. Fine. So then this is problem six. So here we have to understand the logic. What we have to tell the final value of I. And then problem seven. So it's basically simply asking what is the associativity rule of the if statement. And then question 8, it says what the program is doing. Here we saw that it was basically adding up the digit values of the digits of the number and then negating them and then printing the value. Then this was the problem 9. It used the shorthand operator and the increment operator. And then we wrote some C programs. So yeah, there was another problem that was asking what was the output, that you just switch case here. So from the problem 11, we started solving some problems, programming problems. So initially we used seesaw problem using nested if. So we were writing a grade, we are assigning. So yeah, there is some doubt in question 9. Okay. So yeah, can you just elaborate what is the doubt here? Or should I solve this problem again for you? So Satyen, can you just tell me what is the doubt here? So I get huh. B minus minus is print B minus 1. So basically B minus minus means it's a postfix operation. So you can see this is a postfix operation here. What it says is decrement the value of B stored in the variable B by 1, but after the terminator is observed, so after this line, so it what it is doing, it is basically assigning the value of 6 to B, decrementing the value of 6 B to 6, but it's using its original value before this statement because it's a postfix operator. Okay, so that's why it was 7 here. So yeah. And you are saying, but in third question, B plus plus is print B. Let's see what is happening. So now it's nested if. Uh, so are you referring to this problem, question number 6? So then, huh. So here what is happening actually, it would have incremented the value of I by 1, but since we have already initialized the value of 2 to it. Okay, so you are saying there is some error here. So let me check it. Uh, so it's always good to just write the code and check it what is happening. Logs.c. So it's printing 2 only. So let me tell it. So yeah, it's printing 2 only. So what is happening actually here is it's basically saying that whatever the value of I was here, just updated by 2. So what it will do, um, we know that this is the associative the precedence rule says that evaluate this operation first. So basically I plus was will be evaluated first and then the assignment will happen. Fine. So now what is happening here is it is saying update the value of I equals to I plus 1 after you after you finish evaluating this statement. Fine. So what it will do, it will evaluate everything else using the initial value of I, and then it will update the value of I. So what it is using 2. So what actually is happening here is it's basically assigning value of 2 to the variable I here itself. And then it is updating the value. But since the value has been already changed, I right now does not contain this I plus plus condition here, a value right here. So the value has been assigned as 2. So we are actually reassigning the value of to the variable I. That's why no increment is going on here. So Satyendra, did I answer your question? So Satyendra, can you just confirm? Fine. So basically, we are actually explicitly assigning the value of 2 to the variable I. So the value has been changed. That's why we are not seeing any update here. Fine. Anyone else? Any questions? So it's 8:50 already. So I guess there are no further doubts. So maybe I can you give there was a question regarding the difference between the while and do while loop. So I can solve a new problem and just explain you guys the difference between them. So so this should be problem 14. So so let's go and solve a problem. So let's say I'm write a program to print the values from 1 to 10. So we have to write a program that prints the values from 1 to 10. So what we can do, we can declare a variable I and give it a value of 1. So we will be using the while loop for this operation. So we will be using syntaxes like this, while, and then we write some condition here. If it will execute, so basically execute these lines until the execute these lines simply. So basically, these lines will be executed if the condition is true. So if condition condition is true, enter the loop body. So basically, if the condition is true, enter the loop body, else just execute from here. So yeah, anything just after the loop body will be executed. So this is how the while loop looks like. And let's see the do while loop. So do while loop looks like this: do, then body, and then while, and some condition here, and then break. So this is how do while loop looks like. So while and then do something until the condition is true. If the condition is false, then exit. So this is the exit control loop. Here, what you can see that is whether if the condition is true or not, something will be the body statements within the do while loop body will be executed at least once, even if the condition is false. Whereas when we are using the while loop here, if the condition is false, nothing will be executed that is present inside the loop body. So this is the difference between these two loops. So it's basically entry control loop, and do while is the exit control loop. So let's go ahead and write a program. So while I is less than equals to 10, what we have to do? We have to simply print the value percentage d backslash n, and then print the value of I. So let's see what the program. Maybe I can say I can print output using while loop. So this will be the output while when we are using while loop. And let's go ahead and write some program, same logic using do while loop. So basically do, and then take this here, and then use the while statement here. While is I is less than equals to 10. And let's increment the value of I so that our loop exits at least once. Otherwise, the program will go into infinite loop. And let's see the behavior. So this is program 14. So yeah, I was already updated. So again, what I will have to do is I equals to 1 again. So yeah, you can see output using while and do while loop, both in both the cases, the output is correct. But in do while loop, what is happened? The statement is executed first. So let's say if I initialize I to 0 here, and let's say I put in the condition I is greater than 0 and I is less than equals to 10. So let's put this condition and use this same condition here also. So if it's I is not greater than 0, it's not greater than 0 and not less than 10, then it less than equals to 10, then it will not print the value. So let's see the behavior now. And then see what is happening here. So yeah, you can see output using while loop. We did not print anything because I was 0 initially. But when we are using do while loop, we can see the output was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically, it was not checking the condition until the value of variable I was updated. So do the every statement within the do while loop is executed at least once. So this is different. So it's already past 2 hours mark. So we will end this session and I will take more questions from the next for the next session. We have a few more questions that I will share with you on switch case statements, and then we will be taking on problems on loops. So see you.